what looked to be like a pretty substantial disadvantage, and just because Wyverns end up, so many of them end up getting killed, and they're relatively expensive units that the undead player is sometimes able to pull from pretty far behind and win. So what CR is doing instead is he's trying to secure his expansion, and he's doing things like starting in fights. Actually, pause the game. 3, 2, 1, pause. I'm paused at the 11-minute and 43-second mark. I've just got too much crap I need to talk about here before this battle starts. Anyway, what CR was doing there is he's using Kodos to just like kind of nab a few units and town portal out, and what he's overall trying to do throughout pretty much this whole game is keep on pushing Fix's base so that Fix is not able to stop him from expanding. As long as he's able to do that, basically have Fix locked down where he has to keep town portaling in, and then CR just town portals out or runs or something. CR will be able to get an expansion up, and eventually, if not in the short term, Fix is going to be screwed because CR is just going to outmass him. One of the things that adds to that is if CR can add some Kodos and grab a couple of, he can like eat a couple of fiends or something before he town portals out. And if he's able to do that, then it's going to end up, basically the game's going to end up costing Fix a whole lot more money than it is Ciara to keep doing that, and just kind of help solidify his advantage. Now in a straight fight, Kodos are not very good, so that's just kind of an unfortunate circumstance. I think Ciara is stuck here without a town portal. I'm guessing the reason they ended up clashing here is probably because Ciara was trying to make his way to the shop or something to grab one on his way to fix his base. Although I could be incorrect about that. I'm not really. I haven't watched Ciara's point of view very closely. Okay. As for the battle itself, I have a shopping list for you if you're planning to go do battle with an army of ghouls. Any kinds of scrolls that you can get. I'll give you your ideal list. Chances are most of the time you're not going to be able to afford all of this stuff. Fix had a fairly strong early game, and I think that's a lot of why he actually has all of it. But here was what you want. You want 2 Rods of Necromancy, 1 on each hero. You want 2 Scrolls of Healing, 1 on each hero. A Scroll of Protection is also nice. You've also got to have, a decent number of ghouls. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, that's about a good number. Something that's like almost a full control group. You need that many ghouls, otherwise they're just going to get picked off too early on, and your healing scrolls and everything are going to go to waste. The purpose of the dual rods is that, even with your best efforts in healing scrolls and things like that, a few of your ghouls are probably going to end up getting picked off fairly early on. You don't want to blow a healing scroll just trying to save like 1 or 2 ghouls. You really need to wait until at least 5 or 6 of them have taken damage, like a significant amount of damage for it to be cost effective. So the rods help you out because once the ghouls die, you just make your army even bigger, and it ultimately ends up being pretty nasty for the poor art player. So, okay, what Fix is going to do here, what your intended micro in this battle is that you're just going to let your ghouls fight. You don't have to try and focus them on anything. You don't actually have to get surrounds here. You're not necessarily going to have time to be able to do that. Just let them deal as much damage as they can. Frenzied ghouls have one of the highest damage per second, for the money of any kind of unit in the game. So you're just going to let them fight, and you watch for Chain Wave. Because once you see Chain Wave go off, you're almost guaranteed, unless he missed, you're going to have to pop a heal scroll at that point. Otherwise, some ghouls are going to start dying very soon afterwards. So let's go ahead and watch how this pans out, and I'll try and watch it and see if you can see when the chain waves go off, so you can get an idea for what the important points in the battle are. Otherwise, I think he's just going to spam Nova on the grunts and just try and deal way more damage than CR can handle at this point. So let's get this unpaused. I'm at 11:43 right now, and I apologize for the pause. I know that's kind of annoying, but there was just too much information that I wanted to cram in. So get this unpaused in 3, 2, 1, unpause. Okay, you see you just saw I don't know that he actually cast Chain Lightning, but you saw Shockwave go off, and that's pretty much good enough reason right then and there to have to go ahead and use a healing scroll. So he popped a healing scroll then. Ciara basically has decided, with good reason, that he needs to get the hell out of there. He doesn't have a town portal, and he doesn't have nearly enough damage to try and stop those ghouls. His hope right now is that expansion in the upper right-hand corner is going to go up, and that he's going to be able to build a big enough army to handle all this shit. Fix, however, has other plans in mind. What he did once Ciara started running is he grabbed his 3 most wounded ghouls and he sent them to go check the expansion. This is a lucky guess on his part, in a sense. He hadn't scouted there yet. But usually there, at any point in the game, if you've been playing pretty aggressively in anything, you'll know there's only a few places the orc player actually could have crept out and cleared expansion. So, you do have to do a little bit of guessing, but when you guess right, it is extremely effective. So just be aware that you're never going to necessarily be able to scout anything before you stop it. Whenever you send like a few ghouls to try and stop his expansion, you want to send as few as possible. You need usually need about 3. That's the magic number, because they're almost definitely going to die. You don't want to, as a result, that's why you don't want to send more than necessary, because if you do, you're just feeding your opponent like experience and things like that. Ciara, like I said, is at this point is in a situation where he really can't fight Fix's army, so that battle just ended up being pretty much a wash for Ciara. He just kind of had to get out of there, and he has to let the expansion go down. Like a good orc player, as soon as Fix leaves, he's going to send a couple more peons out and try to have them rebuild it. I don't know if he does it right away, but he's going to do it fairly soon. That's pretty much how it works. You can't necessarily afford to stand there and wait for the orc player to expand, because he might go expand somewhere else or something like that. It makes sense to go creep, because one of the ways that you can win this matchup, if you are, if you're ahead, like if you're doing well here, in fact, if you look like at the food counts, Fix is doing a hell of a lot better than Ciara, is to get your hero levels pretty high, because for the Farseer especially is a pretty nukeable hero. Even the chieftain can be killed if you've outleveled him by enough. This is once again, Ciara is going to keep pushing Fix's base. And Fix is forced to haul ass over and buy a town portal. That sort of thing happens, especially like if you see your opponent. It's not as big of a problem if your opponent's going Wyverns, just because they're not as good at siege. But when your opponent's going for like a Kodo Raider strategy, anything that has a lot of Raiders in it, expect them to be pushing your base a hell of a lot. And be aware that you're at any point possible, you really should keep a town portal on you. Fix remembers to buy one here, so just remember that. If your opponent has a lot of Raiders, don't risk losing the game, because he's going to chop down your town hall unless you're absolutely desperate. Like, do not leave your base without a town portal. Okay, man, sorry, I'm kind of running out of breath here. Like I said, I'm kind of sick, so my throat is hurting like hell right now. Okay, one of the things I wanted to point out earlier that I didn't get a chance to is one of the things you can do is kind of mark important times in the game using the little game clock at the top of the screen in the middle. The one that's got the little night and day indicator, and then it has the little dots that light up indicating kind of like what time of day it is. Like, for example, that an orc player is typically getting hit tier 2 on the first night around 5 dots, like when it's like halfway through the first night. So it's a very stable, consistent way you can look to see, okay, my opponent's probably hitting tier 2 right now. If I don't have, and then you can know, like, if I don't have my Death Knight at level 2 by that point, I'm probably going to have some trouble, because I really need to be, like, fighting him and getting in his base and canceling his bestiaries and things like that at that point. Here, I think Fix kind of overextends himself. He's trying to kill Barrows, which is a great idea in and of itself, but he lets he waits a little bit too long to town portal back. That's just one of those things that you got to be aware of when you're going up against orcs, that they're very good at killing your main hall. You'll notice, like, Fix is